Uh, wait. I still didn't unplug the the mouse. What's up? Good evening. Okay, there we go. Here we are now. Oh, good. Anyway, welcome. Today, what do we have in the store? No idea. I I have to say, not not writing stuff down to some degree is better. I I was thinking out a lot of things, but sadly I partially forgot about it. Yeah, um, there were things that I could have said that I ended up losing. So anyway, it's incredibly cold. Let me say that. It's like surprisingly cold. So anyway, it happens, I guess. Besides that, I don't know. It's yeah, okay. I remember something that I should have said quite earlier. Uh, I had quite a lot of issues with stuff in terms of yeah. I I wasn't expecting to find myself having internet, not internet. It was I was looking for the word. I think it is like power outages, something like that. We had like a completely random one. I don't even live in an area in which that is common, at least not in this or during these times of the year. Probably I can say that it might be related to how cold it is, since all of this place isn't really capable of handling such low temperatures. So that's probably the reason, but it is still happened, so it was quite shocking on one hand. But anyway, the important thing is, even if, because that's the thing. I was like getting ready, I was starting to set up everything, and out of nowhere, it went out. Obviously, you don't expect it, so I was like, wow. And it lasted for quite a while, so I was almost close to not even being here. I was starting to believe that we weren't going to have any stream. But anyway, we here we are now, so that's something, I guess. But yeah, um, happened. That happened, and that might happen again. I hope not. I don't know. It should have not happened to begin with, but somehow it ended up happening for whatever reason. So whatever. If yes, if I go uh, down out of nowhere, we already have the reason. I should have, now that I think about it, I should have even tried to pin that in the comments. I guess in the comments section. Yeah, no, in the in the chat. Anyway, that's that's that. Also, no, I don't even remember how I got there, but I was thinking. Well, I was saying this other thing. I have already. Yeah. Pins. One of the many things that I pinned, like the, at the beginning of the week, was the channel with stuff that should be me recording myself just reading that I should be using to force myself to read. I have that completely abandoned. I am not reading at all stuff. That the goal was to have it because I needed to read. Okay, it's sort of, I wouldn't say failed, but certainly I haven't. I guess I don't force myself that much. So that's something. But anyway, I still have like a handful of excuses. Like we haven't had completely a break or anything like that. So I am still supposedly busy, I guess. But anyway, besides that, what's another thing important? No, I wouldn't say important, but another thing of a different order. Um, I had something and I already forgot. Man, I'm sometimes I forget how to stuff and I feel like I am fucking schizophrenic or onset early onset dementia. It feels like that when out of nowhere I forget the stuff. Alzheimer's, early Alzheimer. Man, how can you forget about things so rapidly? I don't know. I I guess it happens. So whatever. But yeah, I was I was gonna say anyway that I've been certainly spending quite a lot of time thinking lately. So that has felt nice to some degree. I don't know. I I think a lot about this stuff, and I think okay. Let me start with this. One of the many things that I haven't think about is, as I said before, this probably if this whole month has like one central thing that we can pinpoint to, it might be about the truth and whatnot. Trying to be capable of saying things that even if they hurt, they are true. Not saying things that hurt for the sake of hurting, but rather saying things that are true, despite them hurting. Accepting that as long as they are true, it's better to say those things than nothing else. So yeah, I have been spending I guess quite a lot of time trying to picture that and whatnot. And I like to yeah, I have been having quite a good time, I guess, in terms of picturing some to some degree why it might be complicated to have all of that happen. I I can agree that suddenly the capacity to say things that might be to some degree closer to our reality, if nothing else, the reality that we experience, requires quite a lot of patience and I don't know. I I am surprised to see how little we possess anything like that. We we have capacities, we have a lot of capacities to do stuff, but I think it's this general message of yeah, there is no need to have anything like that, and I don't know. I wouldn't say it's by itself bad, but it's something quite unnerving, so to speak. So because of that, I think it's not yeah. In this case, I say I think I personally feel that it is something very dangerous to discarding stuff that easily, that rapidly, just because we can, is very much useless. I feel like it's it's not a necessity to truly say everything that might be true. I guess silence is also quite a useful tool in that sense. we can stay silent and there is no need to act in some situations because at least we have the justification of, yeah, if we were to say what is true, it might be too chaotic to handle. It might be too different to what the reality that we are living in is right now. An actual example, for example, itself being if in a situation in which a family is struggling with debts, the person who is spending the most money needs to face the reality that they might be part of what is inflicting so much pain onto the family. If that were to be said without proper care, that can very much lead to negative consequences. And even if it is said carefully enough, it will still create chaos within the family because we get accustomed to a lot of stuff quite easily. So, at least, not to prolong the lie itself, but at least we have the other tool in our hands of silence. And that's something, I guess. I I don't know. I feel like on the other hand, I cannot avoid mentioning, yeah. So far, what I am seeing is, in many ways, silence itself is quite a useless thing, so to speak. It it doesn't help as much. It's just another type of band-aid that you can apply to things. I I feel like it's quite depressing to see that, yeah, we have a silence. Silence is quite a beneficial tool. It's let's say like this. Under the proper circumstances, it's quite possible to utilize something like silence to allow oneself and others to be capable of reaching proper understandings, insights about the stuff. Because at the end of the day, silence is just, so to speak, that break that happens between what is being said right now or what was said in the past and what comes next after that. So you are not obliged to particularly force silence in so many ways, but at the very least, you can use it meaningfully, if nothing else. The issue is, it becomes too much of a tool for other things. It's sort of a tool of conformism, I will say. If I stay silent, I will have to deal with the consequences of saying things. So that's better, I guess. But I don't know. I guess the issue itself also is still. On the other hand, I have already talked enough times about it already. I won't go that deep into it of the concept of even if you want to say true things, honest things, you should still handle yourself with care. There is no point in just committing quote unquote an honesty side or however you want to say it. Basically being so honest that you end up hurting others and don't only focusing on that side of honesty, not really, but it's complicated, I guess. It's just it's interesting. If nothing else, it's interesting to see that honesty is not so inaccessible, I guess. But I don't know. It's a complicated mess. In general, it's something that I guess at least from a personal perspective I can say I thought I had integrated a lot better, but I just sort of abandoned the possibility of properly thinking about it and allowed myself to become not truly somebody possessor of an idea of something, but rather just a recipient for the ways of conceiving things that others had said, so to speak. Not not talking about the necessity of being original, not from that perspective, but rather, yeah, I think most people, if they were to contemplate a little bit on it, it will be quite a beautiful thing for them also to see that, yeah, yeah, even if I have to deal with the dangers and all of the damage that honesty might bring to my life, I can have all of that exist. And I can have all of those things be part of me. And at least it's something. It's something. Everything is something. But it's something better than just staying in the same place, acting like if nothing was wrong, and ignoring those sort of obvious signals that, once again, if I were to be honest enough with myself, I could notice that they are calling for my attention. They are sort of those call to action that exist within the normal things of life, or the mundane events of life. Of, yeah, maybe tomorrow I wake up and I am feeling palpitations just as I am waking up. And maybe that's a good indicator that I might be truly overweight. Maybe that's a proper indicator that I needed to try and take care of my health. Maybe. Do I stop to think about it? Do I want to think about it? Can I accept that I need to do that? It's work, and working in many ways is seen as something bad. So I don't know. I think it's quite an enigma in that sense that, at least from a personal perspective, I can say I am happy. But yeah, it's something, I guess. At least it's not nothing, so that's by itself enough, I feel like. But that's one thing. Something else. I don't know. I guess in general observation is quite complex. I okay. I have been spending quite a lot of time thinking more than anything else, also because there are so many things that at, at some point you realize, okay, no matter how much I just try to think about it, I can't really solve it. I have been trying for days or weeks or months or even worse, years to try and solve these things in general, and I haven't found a proper solution. I haven't really gotten around to making it happen and not being so burdened by stuff, and it can exist in that sense, but it's, on the other hand, also, yeah, it is complicated. I mean, I don't want to be so incapable of solving the things that happen to me, that are a part of me, that I can find the negative. And it's that a necessity, also, what I said before, to recognize them, that calls to more time being spent on that process. So it's it's a long cycle, I guess. It's just, if we have to use any terminology, it's just uh, an egocentric era or something along those lines, in which just the self goes back to focus on itself more than anything else. But the healthy thing would also be to, after that, go back and do everything else that might be outside of the self. What someone else might have to say, what someone else might need, what might be capable of receiving, all of those things. But it's, I don't know. Okay. Let me say like this. Let me say like this. It's also something that I did spend some time thinking about, and I found it in this way some time ago. I think it's quite easy to stay in that egocentric phase of just focusing on making myself happier because we always have to confront sadly that everybody, yeah, everybody is to some degree incapable of helping every other person that they find out there. Not because the other person is itself mm, incapable of being helped, incapable of being in any way assisted, but rather because it's a lack of proper skill to make it happen, to make the proper move, so to speak, to give them what they are truly needing. And that sort of weight at some point accumulates and does not allow you to keep believing that it's necessary to go back. Or not that it doesn't allow you, as in, okay, you you're playing a game of you're playing the game of life, and at some point you will unavoidably get burned out of people, and you will never be capable of helping anyone else just because you have failed enough times. But the other is the degree of experiences, of negative experiences of that sort, increase higher and higher and higher. And suddenly, at some point, the next time you try to make the decision, it's more based, or mostly based on your own will, weighed against those many negative experiences that you already carry. So suddenly, if you have enough of them that you haven't even truly processed, that you haven't truly even given yourself time to understand and to this thing, fundamental concept, to integrate them into what you are. If you haven't integrated all of those things, the next time you have to make the call, you're going to make, I wouldn't say make the mistake, but you're going to feel bad unavoidably once again, not because you're someone bad or anything like that, but solely because you just don't have, at least at that moment, the capacity to understand that, yeah, maybe the next person can in some way be assisted, but also you need to sort of part with the grief or with the, yeah, with the remorses that come after everything else that happened and that didn't go like we wanted it to. I mean, that's sort of the beautiful thing of this, because even when objectively it went right, as long as your own subjectivity doesn't allow you to feel like it was enough, you might not be capable of doing anything. You might not be capable of feeling like you succeeded just because from your subjective point of view you didn't help. And we like to state that too much. I mean, unavoidably, we are always beings of subjectivity, but at least through others we ought to experience a little bit more what might be somewhat objective, or at least we can tell ourselves that. So it's a possibility, but it also requires being out there and whatnot. And I don't know. It's sort of a complicated topic because it also involves. In this case, I'm just talking about trying to help, but in general, any kind of adverse experience that you might experience with someone else might as well slowly accumulate under until you cannot feel like it is possible for you to do any other sort of positive action to assist them. And I mean, it doesn't even need to be with other people. It can very much happen with yourself. That's the issue. That's the fucking issue. As long as you fail enough times in doing something, even if it is all by yourself, if your will compared to the amount of regret that you carry ends up being less, you will not be capable of moving forward and continuing with your commitment to said action. It doesn't matter which aspect it is, and I don't know. We like to. This is something that fucking frustrates me, I guess. We like to talk about, oh yeah, yeah, we're in the age of emotional intelligence and awareness. Are we? I don't hear people talking about, yeah, I have to grieve a fucking lot. You say grieve, and people looks at you as if you were depressed to some degree. It's it's fucking weird. I I like how we have made some fundamental parts of existence sound so horrible. Oh yeah, yeah. I am grieving things that happened in my life. What? You're suffering? You're having such a hard time? No, man. I am accepting that they happened. You want me to fucking live a blind life? You want me to not be capable of moving forward and realizing that, yeah, yeah. Besides these bad things that happened, there are other things that might as well matter. Can I get to see them? Yeah, if I grieve, if I allow myself to feel the emotions that come with the bad events of life, I might get to see those things, but otherwise, it won't exist in any way, man. And I don't know. Once again, it happens in way too many areas like that, so I feel like it's sort of frustrating to deal with, at least from a personal perspective, because it's not such an issue itself, it's just something that happens and we cannot really try to solve in many ways. It's it's just the personal process. After that comes everything else, I guess. Despite what I don't know. Despite what other people say, once again, this idea of yeah, yeah. I might experience friction from others, but as long as they don't try to actually kill me, I don't need to truly care that much for what they say. If they keep me doing things that they might say are bad or whatever. But I guess, okay, yeah. Unavoidable mention too. Certainly, it might also be just another rationalization of something that is indeed bad and whatnot. It might be, but I don't know, man. I am, if nothing else, I'm right now very much stuck in that point in which, oh yeah, yeah, everything serves some purpose, and most of those purposes are not much more than self-centered. You know, I can try to make it look like they aren't, but they are still self-centered. If they bring me some sort of satisfaction or some sort of defense from dissatisfaction, they are they are self-centered, brother. I can after that explain to you in many ways why it might be useful because of other reasons, but that's after I allowed myself to think about it. I don't really need to think out some things to see the real cause or the most probable cause. It's like I don't know, for grandiose example. Yeah, I play video games because they allow me to disconnect from the busy days that I feel after my life and all of the complicated things, and that's why I like to be 3 hours each day sitting there and doing nothing else besides playing games mindlessly. That's the rationalization of, yeah, I literally just disconnect from life by doing that. I don't have to think, so I have access to a tool that allows me to not think. What do you think I will do? Will I think, or will I just take the easy course of, in real life, literally activate fast forward? Hmm? It, it's it's that sort of question, but I don't know. It's complicated. I guess if nothing else, it's complicated. Also, that's that. I guess I don't know. I haven't. I think okay. Let me say like this. I think like if nothing else, every single one of these streams end up being some sort of divagation about this stuff. Unavoidably, you can't not divagate. It's like I will say I okay. Maybe a necessity is too much, but it's something, and it allows for something. So in that sense, I don't truly mind it, but those I guess in that sense, those borders in which one thing stops being just what was being talked about and it completely transforms into something else is more and more fuzzy, so to speak, more and more unclear, subtly. So sorry for that, I guess. But yeah. Anyway, what I wanted to say on a different note, no, for real, on a different note. One of I think that probably this is like the fourth or fifth thing that I say. It can be made into some sort of writing, of proper writing. I found something. I reached a conclusion. I asked. Okay, I like it when someone else says it, but I don't like when I say it because it sounds too fucking schizophrenic. Uh, there was this question that kept nagging me. So let me rephrase it. There was this question that kept nagging me out. The myths are the essence of the people. The myths are the most fundamental part of ourselves because in some way they encode every other norm of our societies. They are, so to speak, the cornerstones of every culture, not just ours. And in that same sense, the issue is nowadays we don't have truly that many myths. We have creepypastas, we have urban legends, we have stuff of that sort, but even then we still can't realize that they don't truly serve a purpose like they did before. We have lost a lot of, I guess, if you want to say it in any kind of encoding, you can go to Nietzsche and refer yourself to God has died. No, has died. We wasn't it we kill God? Something like that. Anyway, God is there, as in the mythological, or more, not mythological, the theological explanations for stuff stopped having so much validity in our culture. That's the basic explanation of that. And in that sense, from that, it's that every other story, myth, becomes harder to distinguish, and that's when I sort of started to lose it, I guess. Because what the fuck do we have if we don't have any myths? What is it that we get to have if we don't have myths? And we still have something of that sort. We still have what gets inherited to other generations. But sadly, it's it's an amalgamation itself of things because it's not only a new form of myth, so to speak, but also it's I think okay, let me try to explain it in an understandable way. There is something funny that happens with how the myth itself as the cornerstone of society transformed or was resignified with the evolution itself of societies. I think to begin with anything, what happened first and foremost was we lost the myths in their most traditional sense because we have something else now in our hands. We can access media and entertainments of sorts. So our new myths are not mythological creations like before, but rather they're what gets to survive through the entertainment. It's, so to speak, the classics of entertainment have become the new myths of the world. And in that sense, the classics of cinema and television are the new myths of the, let's say, newer generations. And from there, something funny happens that, there is, I think, a very obvious realization is hidden in that because something that happens once you compare, okay, if we say that the new myths are movies and series from TV, what's quite an evident thing that happens also, many things that gets to exist in that sort of media will not be as long if they were to be translated into other sort of sources. For example, anyone who has read a book knows how shortened and abbreviated are the adaptations of them, of said books, once they get transported into this entertainment business. And I think just with that parallel, it's sort of obvious, but also, due to how short they are, we can allow ourselves to have a lot more myths circulating. And also, I will say it in this way. Probably, yeah, yeah. It's getting complicated also because I'm thinking about it as I'm trying to explain it. Probably it also is somewhat associated with this whole thing of how if they are okay, if entertainment is the new way of transferring myths to newer generations and whatnot, that also would in some way explain why there are so many different diverse types of entertainment and why so many of those old traditions get to affect the way in which new people exist, so to speak. I, I, I think it's still like an incredibly fucking risky statement to make. Even more because proper examples will require addressing some issues that I don't feel like I have any capacity of trying to explain myself. So maybe you can picture what I'm talking about. But yeah, different cultures possess different things that they identify themselves with in terms of of those myths and cultures and whatnot that get inherited throughout generations and that get accepted as part of their tradition. And all of that is that in that way. And once again, what I was saying before that allowed me to say this. And because they are shorter, we get to have more existing all throughout the world. So everyone else gets to have a sort of myth that serves them in any way. And sadly, this is the real conclusion that I got today, I think. And sadly, what happens? No, sorry, it was yesterday. What what happens with all of this is they are shorter. I think an unavoidable consequence of that should obviously be that we allowed ourselves to shorten the messages that are transmitted to us. So we allowed ourselves to lose a little bit of attention. I would even justify it in this way. Probably having accepted entertainment so much as the way of transferring things has also contributed to this loss of, I wouldn't say just attention span, the capacity to be engaged for longer periods of time on different activities. The more we have access to these myths, the more we validate them throughout societies, the more we lose focus of what might truly be ours and what everything else is. And because entertainment itself, once again, also is sort of a business, we don't need to have just one static entertainment method and nothing else. We get to have repeating stories that might as well be cyclical, and that's also on a different note. Why that sort of entertainment is always producing stuff because you cannot make the final movie that everyone will love. You can make a good movie that anyone who is willing to watch it might see as interesting, but there is no movie that every single person in the world knows they have to see, so to speak. So, by validating such a statement, we get to create, we get to open ourselves to the possibility of always making more entertainment of that sort. And I guess also I should clarify at this point, I don't know exactly what's the direction with that thought in the sense of I am not saying it as okay, you know what, we need to destroy, I don't know, Hollywood, Bollywood, and all of those places that create entertainment. I cannot believe it. We have a television now. Time to go take it down. The channels. No, 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 no. And the networks. No, no, no. Just I think it answers my personal question of what's the modern day or post-modern day myth? Because we truly don't rate that much. So what the fuck do we use as myths? I know that, for example, if I were to have children, most of them won't have access to those read myths, those verbally transmitted myths like before. I mean, yeah. Even better is the comparison of how these new myths of entertainment gets still transmitted verbally, but because we're always enthralled in the new series that is happening and whatever, it's I don't know, it's interesting, but also it needs a lot more of shape. And it was on one hand, yeah, what had me thinking the most lately, I guess. But it's it's something. If nothing else, it's something. It's a sort of answer. Now, I guess I will be very fucking angry if I end up learning that all of what I'm saying is literally not my idea. I will fucking kill someone if I hear that. Oh yeah. Because this was already said by someone else. On one hand, I guess better I won't have to deal with the responsibility of knowing that. I can't explain it, but also, holy shit, why I can't remember the sources of things that I say. Anyway, it might as well happen unavoidably. So we will see. Uh, what the fuck did it always start working? It's like incredibly late, brother. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, I was trying to say, um, I guess it happens. So in the future, we're going to find out what truly happened with all of that. But for now, that's something. That's the explanation that I found. So yeah, I don't know. I guess it just exists in that way. Anyway, something else. Something else because I feel like I should mention it. After yeah, I think I have already mentioned that in a different way. Something that unavoidably happens is you get better at things that you do repeatedly. Thinking is an activity that you can get very good at as long as you continuously apply yourself to it. And sadly, having so much free time and me being so interested in thinking has allowed me to see that, yeah, indeed, and you can get very good at thinking. I guess the only issue is circulating that opinion with anyone else and getting that outside validation of the opinion of, yeah, 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 this is a plausible objective explanation of thing, or this is only just an subjective, self-validating opinion, or isn't it only to make yourself look more clever? So, on that sense, we will have to come back to that question later, but uh, the point was really that was not the one. The point was I think it's quite funny to see that, yeah, and actually it can happen more and more, and it can happen more quickly also. I I used I'm pretty sure quite for example, the best example would be if I used to think about the stuff years ago, I would have needed a lot of time to understand this stuff. The only issue now is that I still understand a lot of things. Some time after just trying to understand it, but there are so many questions that are possible to be asked that on the other hand also it happens that maybe I might be ignoring something that I should be paying attention to. So sadly, I find myself not doing as good, sadly. So I don't know, man. It's complicated. It's so many answers are good, but on the other hand, so many of those answers also end up being forgotten. I guess it's like that remaining feeling of uneasiness lives. So at least I know I found an answer to stuff, and I don't have to think about it anymore. But I, I would personally say, I mean, I already know I should do it. I should write down most of the things that I think out. I don't. I think it's quite a beautiful action indeed, being able of sitting down to do that. But I don't know. Too many subjective issues in that sense. It's not that I can't accept that. Yeah, it's all subjective problems. In me not doing that, but I probably should. I guess. Anyway, the point was that, yeah, understanding stuff gets easier, but at the same time, sadly, understanding stuff can happen to some degree too much. There are, if you're willing to ask stuff about the world and try to research things, you might find many answers. The issue is being capable of retaining all of that information, even more if you don't truly subject yourself to something like, oh yeah, yeah, we want to be moving at a slow pace or anything like that. we are going to centrally s- time thinking. It's that I guess hyperactivity that gets enabled so much nowadays of yeah, there are so many things to see, to think about, to wonder that you might as well try to do that. So we end up in places like this one now having a thousandfold. Is it a thousandfold questions? What's the proper expression? I guess if nothing else, I should stop fucking asking so many things, wondering so much, and I should apply myself to fucking speaking better English anyway. Anyway, uh, going back to it. Yeah, there are so many things to see that indeed, I think no average person can retain all of that information suddenly. Even if you understand what you're looking for and you get a proper answer for it, this degree, I would say it like this, sadly, once you get your curiosity satisfied, more often than not, it just goes into a different place of the brain. That sort of inaccessible knowledge that only in very specific situations you can pull up, only only there it stays, not in the more barely barely buried knowledge, sadly. So it requires something, some sort of ability. I will say it like that, yeah. It's probably an ability, not something inherently related to something unmodifiable, like, oh yeah. You either have the capacity to remember the things that you see, that you like, that you learn about or not. It's probably an skill that has to be developed throughout time, but that's the issue, man. Having to utilize so much time, the more I guess, at least from a personal perspective, the more you understand about time, the more you learn about the necessity of focusing on things. And sometimes there are some things that you can see. You might as well try to focus on to gain some minimal benefits, but the return of investment from the amount of time that you need to invest in order to get better at the stuff compared to the amount of betterment itself that it will allow you throughout the rest of your life or whatever is in some cases not that high or is counterproductive even. So suddenly we end up in places like this one with there are some things that might be solvable and they truly are not in the through an easy solution. So suddenly other ways, other routes need to be taken, I guess. But I don't know. I mean that's also now that we are here, that's also the same issue of all of these things still are not much more than ego issues in terms of can I actually try to solve the issue or will I justify it as oh no yeah. But if I were to fix this thing, I will have also to confront all of these other things that might be related to it. So I I can say that I can solve them. The action itself of solving them or not is quite a different one because I might end up being quite hard, and I don't want to be hard by stuff. So I will choose to not fix them just because I don't have to be hard. What I mentioned before, basically, the ego and the satisfactions that we gain from ignoring our responsibilities and whatnot. I guess, but whatever. I assume. I don't know. Also, on a different note, okay, yeah, yeah. On a completely different note, that's the end of that out, I guess, because as a sort of understood some stuff, I guess, uh, something funny. I, I have constantly mentioned that here. I shall try to write something, and I shall try to make it happen. Uh, it is still like incredibly early. I mean, there are multiple justifications outside of the egotistical one, but yeah, I think that's the biggest issue. Most motivations are not truly, yeah, what I mentioned before. Most motivations are not truly because of a desire for something good or something truly useful. It's just a desire for something that makes me feel happy, that makes me feel accomplished or better than others. That's the issue, I guess. And I don't know. I think unavoidably we all tend to do those things, and what I said before, after that we can justify them for other reasons. But yeah, I I can see it happening in that way of many actions, when due to how we feel a necessity to satisfy ourselves and justify these necessities that we have through our thinking faculty created more than anything else. I mean, I get told stuff, I see stuff, I hear people, I get to be around places, I get to hear opinions, blah 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 blah. Blah. But in the end, all of that is truly just an input that can either be accepted or that I could totally turn down in terms of, yeah, will it truly affect me? Do I need to hear to what the fuck they are saying? No, I don't need to actually care, but I have decided to care, and because of that, I have decided to make it a problem for me, or not a problem, a situation that now I need to resolve internally, and because of that, I end up needing to act in the world as a consequence of thinking. And I don't know. It's partially it is funny, partially it is mysterious, or yeah, I guess the better word is not mysterious. Truly, it is more like disappointing. Still, being so affected by everything else is suddenly a skill issue, I would say, in more modern ways of speaking. There is truly no no need for that in many ways. But I don't know. I guess as long as the things, that's also the other sort of explanation that comes in handy with this one. As long as the things that we do help in any way, no matter what, even if initially we do them for our personal satisfaction or whatever, as long as that happens, it's good. I mean, it doesn't truly need to matter that much. If they are useful, what's the point behind the motivation? As long as, once again, as long as it isn't truly anything perverse, who the fuck cares? But I don't know, it's just things require proper observation. The things that we do, that's yeah, that's I guess I will save it for later. I haven't like uh, for the past 5 minutes, feeling like I should go to get my idol break. So yeah, let me take my break for 1 second. After that, we will be back. But I will try to not forget what I was trying to go for with all of this. Let me let me leave for 1 second. Let me do my things for 1 instant. Thank you. I was about to leave. Not to leave. Uh, why the fuck did I say leave? Try and sleep, probably. I was about to sit down, and I remember I also need to change the scene. That's what I just want to say. But what's there? I was gonna say welcome that back to the point I had before. It's a sort of complicated one. I don't even remember how I got to it or how I gave myself the what's the word, the introduction to start speaking about it, but I know I reached something that I wanted to mention personally, at least today. There is personally, I think, yeah, I have been spending a lot of time thinking about the process of self-actualization. That's the proper name that it has in English, and I think a lot more. Sadly, it doesn't happen enough on people. Self, I think, yeah. I'm starting to get lost in the semantics between the self-actualization, self-realization, a lot of those things, but becoming aware of what the fuck we are, that's the short version of the, or the less complicated name of it. I think it's quite necessary. I think we don't really like to take time to think out the stuff that we experience and that what we are. Once again, at this point, I have mentioned enough ideas that circle around all of this. Because it might hurt us, because it might go against different ways that we already have of being, because it might be something that requires time, because it might make us change, whatever explanations are abundant for why it's complicated, but it is still necessary. I don't know. I think it's useful and it's quite necessary, I guess. If anything else, if nothing else, sorry, there are obviously some basic guidelines, some basic things to have into to take into consideration when it comes to that, but I think it should happen more. I don't see, let's say like this, because I heard, yeah, I remember one of the many things I heard recently, one of the videos I watched recently, one of the conferences I watched recently was a guy asking the professionals that they have, haven't you met people who should go to therapy? Or who of all the present people here knows somebody who they think at least to themselves, yeah, this person should go to therapy, man. And on one hand, I think it's useful to be capable of seeing that others might need some help. On the other one, is it truly that necessary to derivate everything to just the professional of the mind? Oh yeah, don't you fucking dare think out this stuff. Don't you dare try to make sense of things by yourself. You are obliged to go to a professional or and stuff of that sort, I guess. But anyways, the point was not that. The point was something else. The point was it's necessary and it should happen more. And it isn't truly that complicated. A proper care in terms of observing what we are allows for understanding that doesn't hurt as much as moving rapidly towards just the conclusions of things. I mean, I can always move just to the final statement of, and because I am not doing this, I am a failure. It might mean that it is a failure to not be doing something, but it doesn't truly mean that I am a failure for not doing something. It's this necessity to hurry so much to conclusions in all of that field that makes it also so complicated to talk about it. And not once again, it's not because wow, we as human beings are incapable of ever sitting down and thinking out this stuff. It's just in in reality something complicated because we need to try and do it properly. And in most cases at least, I feel like sitting with my own thoughts is hard. Sitting with what I have to say about myself is quite horrible, you know? So I might as well avoid it rather than try to self actualize or whatever. I will not, it's not that I can't contemplate things, it's that if I have to do it, I also have to deal with a lot of suffering that comes directly from myself and not much else. So yeah, I don't know. It's just on one hand it's just that, but on the other one also it's something that in general, I guess, besides it, it's a sort of truth, but also it's a very blanket statement or very blanket statement of yeah, it will help anyone to try and know themselves a little bit better. Obviously, what the fuck are you talking about? Do you want people to not know who they are, to live lives of no meaning, of complete random actions? Are you stupid? What are you saying? Obviously, besides that, it's useful, but in a more proper sense, people have the capacity to do it. And it will be something that we should encourage more. I okay. Let's say it like this. The issue is, since we have become so capable at using money as a sort of expression of our time, we believe that just because we have to pay someone else, it will be more useful for us than if we were to realize the process ourselves. We have idolized. That's not idolizing something is actually caring for it. We have put into given we have overestimated, let's say, the value of something therapeutic, like a psychologist, because there is that act of transferring your money. Unavoidably, that's in the most average cases and whatnot. And even so, unavoidably, there are all of the other caveats of that question or that idea of yeah. And maybe you will end up reaching negative consequences and negative ideas and negative concepts about yourself, and you might need to be minimally guided in your experience, and you might need to know what you need to think before you say it, because you don't want to hurt yourself and you don't want to hurt others also by what you say and blah 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 blah. But it still is, I think, possible to do it. It's another blanket statement, but with enough care it can be achieved. It's not a process. I don't know. I think it comes mostly from how it gets discussed in the mainstream speech, so to speak. Oh yeah, it just happens. No man, I don't think it just happens. I don't try to make it just happen. I try to sit down and properly think about the stuff. That's how I want it to happen, and that's how I get it to happen. But it's something beneficial in that sense, and it's something that's I guess I don't know. I mean, it's a whole topic itself. How yeah, because you can understand yourself a little bit better, you can fulfill more positions within yourself in terms of understanding what you want and being capable of advocating for your own desires and also advocating for the things that you know you should try to do and whatnot. And the issue lies mostly also on And can you actually apply yourself to the things that you feel like you should do and whatnot, or are you want to stay stuck at these phases of, yeah, we have nothing to actually achieve. We have nowhere to go. We have no dreams and whatnot. So it opens up many possibilities, but at the same time, it's I can feel, probably if somebody came and told me that while I was in a very dark mental space, I feel like mostly they are just toying with me and making me sound like I am stupid for not having that. No, 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 no. It's another sort of skill, let's say. It's just another set of tools for life that you can either develop or not. And this one is mostly related with the mental capacity to be in your own mind, I guess. And I guess that's also the fun of this. It doesn't even need to be one particular method. That's the usefulness of this. There are so many ways in which you can achieve the said thing of self-actualization or whatever. That, yeah, you don't need to worry about how you do it as long as you are capable of feeling better about things and objectively doing better. I guess at the end of the day, also having that happen, everything is good. But if not, it's quite, I wouldn't say pointless, but it's hard to accept spending so much time literally just centered on oneself, I guess. But at the same time, at the same time, because I can, yeah, I say it as if it was bad to concentrate on oneself. Just on the negative side of never gaining anything. On the other one, I also know so many people who could be more wonderful if they knew who the fuck they are, man. I hate this lack of an identity of the self that so many people suffer of. Who the fuck am I? What the fuck am I doing here? What am I trying to go for? What are I have a dream? Can I have a dream? Can I get to see anything positively? Am I capable of doing that? Am I enabled to do that? And that's why it's also necessary, because it gives you other things besides just the initial benefit of, yeah, I feel somewhat better. But I don't know, and it's something that requires time, I guess. But yeah, it's something, I guess. Anyway, also on a completely different note, on a radically different note. Anyway, can I say it? Good question if I can say it or not, but yeah. Uh, Something else, completely unrelated. Another idea. Uh, my voice is fucking weird sometimes. And I let me let me try to explain it properly. Do not sound as crazy, I guess. But yeah, let's try to embark on this tiny journey. Uh, this starts with symptoms of the neurotic, I guess. everything that is related to neurosis. Uh, that's neurosis, hysteria, and hysteric people. Is it hysteric? Hysteric? How do you say it in English? No idea. Um, but yeah, that sort of stuff and pain and all of those things that basically happen because of mental diagrams that we are capable of creating about things that end up impacting the physical world, let's say. Not, not physical, but more like the corporeal world. As in, yeah, the corporeal realm of the self. The, let me rephrase it so that it makes more sense and without the mistakes in the middle. Um, Hysteria is related mostly to issues of things that have to deal with the mental pictures that we can create about the stuff and the mental diagrams that we are capable of building out issues that later on, as they keep on evolving and evolving into even worse negative things, impact the reality of the body, what I said before, of the corporeal realm, in terms of the body of the person who suffers from such things. The issue is, how can you realize that it happens in that way and not in any other? Is quite a complicated one because you need to be capable of realizing why the fuck you're suffering from things. There are many sufferings that might not have any true explanation besides that. The issue is, nowadays we have sort of discontinued this category of hysteria and whatnot. It's I at least here in this part of the world, it's even a sort of bad word because you cannot tell someone that they might be a little bit hysteric. They will feel like you're insulting them, and it obviously carries a negative connotation and all of that. But I don't know if that's the point. The point is also good evening, good night, flower. The point is hysteria. Um, I think I think it's mostly, yeah. At this point, I don't fully remember, but I think it's mostly related to the later stages of development of what I said before. Once it starts to involve the the body itself, it gets properly classified as hysteria because you are disabling things that otherwise should function normally because you cannot allow yourself to be true to due to those, as I said before, mental diagrams that you create about this stuff. So the issue is, can I say it? Okay, we can. It's like a complicated exposition, but it's still a possible one. It's a sort of useful one. Let's say like this. It has. I said before. I always felt a little bit weird in terms of how my voice works. I know that some days I out of nowhere completely lose it, and I think I what I said before. I remember hearing a conference very recently. It was related to the silence of one of the patients. One of the presentations was about a patient who ended up in one of their sessions going to the saloon and saloon what to the clinic and being just silent the whole session, not just on one session but rather in multiple ones, because it's it, it was due to something. And the issue with that is you can either translate that in terms of analysis. You can just say, oh yeah, you're just being silent to defend yourself, easy. Or that's where the insight sort of comes into play of, okay, how can you make the person properly work with what you are telling them? And what these other psychoanalysts found was, if I were to tell them instead that maybe because they are deciding to stay silent, they are also at least unconsciously defending me by not saying bad things, it can help them to also break free from the silence. It's the reality of, yeah, you might be overestimating what you can say. And that's that same thing, what I was going to say here. I didn't think about it in that way. Outside of that very specific example, the idea is, yeah, you have to restructure stuff. That was the whole presentation, and I guess it also sort of makes sense why in some cases I end up here out of out of nowhere, almost incapable of properly speaking in that sense. I don't really have anything wrong. I mean, I have already had spent a lot of time and money is observing all of that, and yeah, it's not related to, yeah, me and some problems with my voice. It's just more along those other lines of maybe at, albeit unconsciously, I guess, it is still just a justification for, yeah, you might want to hide the stuff or something like that. And that's I guess what I was saying before. If there is no time to observe things that are to any degree correlated to oneself, you might even start suffering from those things that you allow. I can see it happen, not just in the future, but also because it had already happened in the past. I, there are moments in which I completely lose my voice because I guess that's the explanation. I feel saying a stuff. I don't want to maybe say something bad or anything like that. So yeah, it makes sense, but it requires time, I guess. And I don't know. It's I can simply let it be. The general explanation is you can simply let it be a common symptom that you feel about the stuff, or you can try to solve it. It's this concept of, yeah, life is always full of choices. Which one are you going for? Are you going to just allow something barely displeasing to happen, or are you just going to take the route that might require a little bit more effort, but will bring also more benefits to you? Hmm? All of that depends literally on your decision. And I don't know, it's complicated, I guess, but it's still something. And I guess I prefer that somethingness than the complete lack of events, at least from a personal perspective. I don't know. Yeah, that's what I literally now thought about, I guess. Uh, it finally made some sense. But yeah, whatever. outside of that. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I have something. I have been trying to to ring it up. I think it's complicated. Suddenly, yeah, it's one of those many concepts that we don't truly like to talk about in general. I Okay, let me frame it from this perspective. Earlier, I talked about mourning things and being capable of processing the bad events that happen and whatnot. And very much on that same line or furthering that thing, I don't know. I think it's also such a negative, I will say it in that sense, idea how we end up being so incapable also of accepting that, yeah, maybe, maybe there is that like the Rocky phrase, there is no tomorrow, you know? Maybe I don't get to wake up and do every single thing that I am interested in accomplishing. Maybe I don't get to fulfill all of the things that I said, yeah, I will leave them for tomorrow. Oh, I will do them at another occasion. And it's complicated. It's it's on one hand it's too much weight, I guess. There are too many things that everybody knows that should be trying to do. They should try to some degree to have an interest in doing. But on the other one, it's trying to take advantage or trying to actually act on the things that we want is the point. And I don't know. It's very much on the same line with that idea of yeah. And, you get to believe whatever you want. But if that doesn't truly lead you to anything beneficial or to anything that you can see allows you to feel more fulfilled, what's truly the point in just believing in whatever, I guess? Not in terms of, yeah, we need censorship, but isn't it quite disappointing sometimes to just, at least from a personal perspective, I feel like those many days in which I just decided to give up on stuff, those are, so to speak, the biggest regrets and the most disappointing ones. In which, oh yeah, today I can just not relax or allow myself to rest because I have been very stressed. No. I had a very chill week. Today I will do absolutely nothing. Truly, it makes sense to me. I look back onto it and no, I would have rather done something else. But it's that sort of thing of, yeah. We, I don't know. It also goes back to what I mentioned before. Or, yeah, not exactly today, but we are too late back with this stuff. So, I don't know, man. It's just, I guess, from a personal perspective, once you get to do things that you like, once you get to do things that make you happy, even if it is an egoistic idea, you also want other people to be happy, you know? You want them to do what makes them happy. And I don't really care about what exactly it is as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else, but yeah. happiness should be something that everybody tries to aim at, you know? It doesn't need to be so miserable life in that sense, and I don't know. It's it's complicated, but most things are still complicated, I guess. Also, I different note, different idea. I sort of mentioned that I talk about movies. Movies are the new myths, or not just movies. Entertainment, the whole entertainment business world are the new myths of the current generations. Yeah, uh, I don't know if it was implied, but I don't know. I don't like the method of hinting at stuff without actually mentioning it. And I forgot to mention it. We should read more stuff. That's also another different point, but we should read more stuff. It's quite a wonderful thing to be capable of reading stuff, I guess. I mean, the thinking faculty itself is quite capable of adapting as long as you can give it enough steps to understand whatever it is that you are trying to get, it can be capable of integrating it within the whole system of knowledge that anybody possesses in terms of the world. The issue is, can we be enough? Yeah, I did sort of loop back to what I also talked about before. Can we can we be honest enough to realize that, yeah, I might need to take a step back and look at other things before looking at this one, I don't know, this one idea that I want to get. It's sort of this whole process. For example, what I don't know, I think I have mentioned that here at some point. Um, I like to read, and I like to try and get at the people that I have to read in my whole academical journey, but also I don't like to fucking rush so much like we do in the academic world. I don't know where those ideas come from. For example, I read Marx. I didn't read Hegel. I didn't read Fitzgerald, I think it was his name. I didn't read all of those other people. I am only been, I am only ending up in a third or fourth generation idea instead of properly building everything up. Am I properly understanding what I am reading? Probably not. But at least I did it and I got the satisfaction of knowing that I moved on from that, I guess. But it's that sort of, once again, level of, do I care about what I am doing? Do I find myself interested in what I am doing? If what I am doing is honestly something that I like, it's truly something that I want to keep doing, then I will try to make sure that I do it to the best of my capacities. I mean, if I were to be capable of doing it even better than what I can right now, why not invest time on it? It's not a waste. That's the point. It's an investment and nothing else. This, this must this much friction against anything that is an investment of purely time. This amount of almost radical love for, oh yeah, yeah, time is only, or you are wasting it to earn cash. Then you have to spend it on the purest forms of satisfaction. I don't know, man. I feel like I can see that. I mean, that has been the general discussion of I don't know this society in which I live for so long. But yeah, it can be like that. It also can be well, you're not forced to live this whole life that you don't like. I don't know. What is it? Being another cog in the machine of the capitalistic world. Wow. You can also do something that is fulfilling, not just this momentaneous pleasure. That idea of yeah, aiming for something bigger, you know. It's just I don't know I guess that's what I am trying to go at. It's still so disappointing to see so little desire for all of that. Human is quite capable indeed, but if you don't even give yourself time to see if you can achieve stuff, yeah, everybody fucking fails. Everybody at some point fails. But if just because you failed once, you will never again try, man, what a what a that's I guess true depression. What a incredibly defeatist attitude, man. How come we don't try more? So many of that sort of people out there. It's concerning, I guess, in that sense. But yeah, I don't know. On the other hand, also what I mentioned before, it's still a bubble of yeah. We are doing so much better. I guess I don't know, man. But also, but also, I guess that's the that's the personal issue. Of, yeah, in reality, okay. Let me explain it. I guess another of another one of the things that I haven't think out quite a long time for quite a long time is yeah, I fucking hate the clinic. Uh, how many things are truly useful if you're not directly on that one-on-one style? I you can cast what's the common expression? You can cast a light into the abyss and hope for something, but I don't know. I think it works more the other way around. Of you just look at the abyss and it stares back and it's deeper than what you can have ever expected, more enigmatic and even bewildering than what you could have ever imagined. Yeah, but you truly are going to expect to just make things better because you leave it there. I don't know, man. It's this also from a personal perspective. It's this excuse of yeah, but maybe from a point of view of wills in the future, things might happen differently. You know, maybe. And what if it doesn't? What if let's say like this? What if the soulmate that you're looking for is not there exactly? It's I okay. I don't know also because personally I can feel it too much. Let me let me say it like this. There is in what I said before, it's not completely true that we have literally no myths. One of the many myths that we have been capable of retaining, even in nowadays world, is the Christian myth and whatnot. And one of the important parts of that is serving other people. And I think that, or serving your, is it equals serving the other? I don't remember exactly how you say it in English. But yeah, the point is, I also think on one hand, it's just staying on the most basic form to say, yeah, I can, I can accomplish great things, or I can accomplish that part of directly assisting others by going to the one-on-one action, so to speak. Yeah, I mean, unavoidably, but properly performed actions, even if they come from the singularity of the self, they might as well be useful for anyone else. Because I guess that's the whole idea of yeah. You can say things that others might as well be capable of interpreting for themselves without requiring so much interference from you or anything like that. But it goes back to what I said. Can we have enough patience to do what we want? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe this desire once again of for instantaneous rewards. I need to see people happy right now. So it's better to give up on a bigger project and just go back to that one-on-one action. That's I don't know. That's once again. I feel like it's just another sort of I said it rationalization. I don't truly. There are many conclusions of that sort that I don't truly get to know if they are truly proper conclusions or just things that I say that make the self feel justified. And I guess I should probably properly consult that with someone who knows about it, because I don't know, in to some way, to some degree, most of those things seem to be that way. And I guess you just pick your poison. I don't know, man. Also, what time is it? Bro, it's incredibly late. Brother, yeah, no, uh, tomorrow I have a school, so I no, it was a very good stream. It was a fantastic stream, but fucking god. Anyway, do I have anything else to say? Yeah, okay, I have something, but it takes so much fucking time. Oh, you know what? Let me see. Do we do raid slash raid? Yeah, yeah, we have to raid. The issues of having, I don't know, responsibilities. Is it a responsibility? It's is it correct to say responsibility? It's more like an is it an opportunity? It's okay, no, it's a gift. That's the word. It's a fucking gift to do that. To be capable of doing that. It's a precious no not opportunity as in being opportunistic. It's something that you can do. that's a more proper way to frame it, I guess. But yeah, anyway, uh, all of that is just me avoiding the action of writing itself. let me find somewhere to write. I guess thanks as always, and see you until next time. I don't know. Somewhere where can do I need to think out? No idea, man. Options, choices. Wait, I have one. I have one. I have a very funny one. I'm pretty sure. Uh, in a more mental discussion, bigger people don't truly have to ask. So we are going to rate Sharma because also I think Sharma doesn't stream as much lately. So let's go to that, I guess. Anyway, wait, wait. If you say things properly, I have seen that now YouTube adds like bottom of the video description references to who you are talking about. Can I test if I say properly? What is it? Sharma 985 underscore? Is it underscore? Will that track? I don't think so. Probably it doesn't have like internet personalities, right? It only has like normal people supposedly. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let me see. Is it 985? Yeah. I Anyway, besides the point, let me send it. And yeah, so I was going to say, thanks for everything. Decent. He disabled fucking rights. Fucking hate this here. Why? Why do I have to actually choose? What a what a wonderful world. Yes, I don't know. Fucking why? And you know what's the issue? I have to write someone, and then I have to do the whole other side. I fuck it, man. I don't know. What other choices are there? I shouldn't be complaining. That's the reality. I shouldn't be complaining. So anyway, don't mind me. I'm fucking crazy. Yes, I don't know. You know what? You want to what? What? I closed my own stream. I'm so good, brother. I'm so professional. So for taking like 5 minutes longer than what expected. There it is. Anyway, thank you for everything. That was the point. Thank you for everything. Have a wonderful day, night, evening. I don't know. Life. Have a nice life. Do things. Be happy. Self-actualize. I guess that's also another message of today. And honesty. Be honest. Let honesty kill you. Yes, that's a good line. The day that honesty killed me, a whole opening line for a book, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, tomorrow, probably tomorrow, not. I guess I should be here. So yeah, probably tomorrow. Probably, I don't know. I have to see how I do. At a later stage in the development of the day of tomorrow, I will properly decide. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for everything. Have a good one. Thanks. Thanks for all. Thanks for the patience. That's the most important part anyway. We are going to random. Who is doing? What was he doing? I don't remember. Fucking. I didn't see it. Anyway, worry. Ciao. 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 Wow. Cannot believe it. He said the whole thing.